Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
As long as the Matrix exists, the human race will never be free.
Start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?
Terrorists! Terrorize this.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
No. You have no choices. You're already here. There's no escape. It's like the Roach Motel. Greetings, free thinkers, truth seekers, anti-war heroes, and future FEMA camp liberators. It is Thursday, February 16th, 2012, and you have found yourselves standing in defiance against the New World Order. And as H.G. Wells said, countless people will hate the New World Order and will die protesting against it. If I can help it, I'm not going to let that happen. I am your humble host, Darren Stone, broadcasting to you live from FEMA region, number one. That's right. And I will not give 1 inch of ground from beneath my feet or your feet, no matter what the price happens to be. It's a true story. Tonight's call-in number, should you decide to step up, is 917-889-3064. Because remember, kids, taking 6 to the chest for rolling up your window is not the time to let your voice be heard. 917-889-3064. That, of course, is a reference to the latest police officer shooting an unarmed, innocent civilian, 54-year-old woman from, somewhere in the South. Hold on. Culpeper. Patricia A. Cook out of Culpeper, Virginia. Apparently, she was in her Jeep and outside of a church. The people inside the church believe she was there to apply for a job as a Sunday school teacher, which she had been before. For some reason, the police approached her. A police officer approached her. Nobody really knows what happened between the two. But what they're saying is that she rolled up her window. The officer told her to roll her window down or keep her window rolled down. She rolled her window up and tried to drive away, I guess, and he pulled out his gun and killed her, 54-year-old woman. We'll be posting the story up after the show. It's just the latest in the trend, right? Obviously, he thought she was a domestic terrorist and had to be stopped at all costs. I mean, I really don't understand the mindset of these police shootings, the police brutality, like the shooting of the 14-year-old high school kid down in Texas. He had an airsoft gun in his school. Anybody who knows anything about airsoft guns, they have an orange tip. It's pretty hard to make a mistake. Cops killed him. 14-year-old kid said he was a threat. I don't know. call me crazy. I'm 5'10", about 180 pounds. I'm not going to consider any woman or kid a threat that is unarmed. While I am in body armor and armed, I'm definitely not going to consider them a threat to the point where I have to take their life. I don't care what the excuse is. I just don't care. Anyway, that was my reference to calling in. So if you do want to call in tonight, 917-889-3064. Couple plugs. Front's official website, frontradio.net. You can hook up to our YouTube channel, our Twitter account, and our Facebook account from the website, frontradio.net. Also, check out my friend Stephanie Sledge, her website, governmentrag.com, all the latest truther headlines. A new page, World Anti-Censorship Alert Squad. Young man is doing his best to push this new info page on Facebook, so check it out. Give it a couple likes. It is the World Anti-Censorship Alert Squad page on Facebook. Long title, yes, but worth every letter. And, of course, my newest friend, Revolution, will be televised. Zach, he will be calling in tonight, as a matter of fact. He sent me an email earlier this afternoon and said that he has some inside information. He has a source inside Syria. So he's going to call in at some point during the show and tell us what's going on in Syria. So I don't want to miss that. So I said, call in anytime. I don't know when he'll call, but whenever he does, we'll just stop whatever we're doing and we'll hear what Zach has to say about Syria. And also, of course, Rad Chick. Look, there's nothing more important going on until World War III starts officially than what's happening in Fukushima and the radioactive fallout around the globe right now. Honestly, it's hard to tell. I mean, a lot of this is coming from Fukushima with all these nuclear reactor incidents going on across the United States. I'm sure it's now turning into a combination thing. And, of course, the thyroid issues are getting out of hand. I know several people. I can think of 3 of my friends right off the top of my head that are having thyroid issues and have had thyroid issues. So, actually, one of my friends is getting checked for thyroid cancer, and I said, did you ask the doctor about radiation and radioactive fallout being a possible threat, an issue? Of course, not expecting a rational answer from the doctors, because these guys are just parrots. They parrot what they're taught in medical schools, and of course, we all know who funds the medical schooling. It's the pharmaceutical industry. So, but I just thought for kicks it might be interesting to what the answer would be, and guess what the answer was? Well, it's really no big deal. It's nothing more than getting an X-ray. No more radiation than getting an X-ray. And of course, I fired back with, you mean the X-rays that you guys give when you put on those lead vests, right? How about next time how about for a month you do X-rays without wearing the lead vest? And then it's just the same amount from an X-ray, no big deal. So thyroid problems is an issue, and because of the radiation. So I'm going to play right now for you guys, and I had Radchick on last episode, for those of you that listened. If you missed it, go back to episode 183, and you can hear Radchick's latest update on the nuclear issues going on around the world and the country. But I have her latest fallout forecast, which we're going to get to, and then I'm going to follow it up with a clip out of Philadelphia today concerning the drinking water, the tap water in Philadelphia, and radiation. So hold on here. Let me make sure I grab the right clip. Here is Radchick's latest radiation fallout forecast.
This is your 3-minute radiation fallout forecast for Wednesday, February 15th, 2012. This forecast will identify the areas of highest potential fallout concern based on precipitation forecast, current radar, jet stream, and water vapor analysis for Canada, the U.S., and Europe. In Canada, radar imagery from Environment Canada shows current precipitation as of Wednesday evening in Winnipeg without jet stream overlay. Winnipeg would therefore be low risk. However, the following areas in Ontario and east of there are at high risk for the next 36 hours. Sault Ste. Marie to North Bay, from Alexandria east of Montreal through Tres-Rivières, and northern Quebec, as well as St. John's in Newfoundland. In the U.S., CRWS jet stream analysis shows approximately 80% of the country is covered by the jet stream at the moment, except for the states of Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Alaska, and Hawaii. The rest of the country that is experiencing either rain, snow, or hail over the next 36 hours, especially the Ohio Valley to the southern states, should be considered high risk. Please avoid direct contact with all precipitation in these areas. In Europe, although scattered rain and snow is occurring over most of Europe right now, the jet stream placement puts the UK, Germany, and southernmost regions of Scandinavia at highest risk for potential fallout. Nuke report. The NRC cited the Palisades nuclear plant in Michigan today for 3 safety violations, with the worst of the violations stemming from a September 2011 incident in which half of the control room indicators were lost due to operator error. There were also cracks found in service pumps, a recurring problem at Palisades, which the NRC says the plant has failed to prevent. The easiest ways to mitigate for radiation exposure is by avoiding dangerous fallout conditions, such as rain, snow, hail, or high winds. Use reverse osmosis filtered water for drinking, making coffee, and washing vegetables. Eating healthy foods that are high in potassium or known for their anti-cancer properties. Eat lower on the food chain. Reduce or eliminate all animal products, including dairy, and there's good alternatives to milk, such as rice, almond, soy, and coconut milk. For more extensive mitigation info, please visit FukushimaFacts.com, as well as links to the fallout monitors in the U.S. and Europe. This message has been brought to you by Radchick and the Orion Talk Radio Network. We care about you because your government doesn't. Please share this concern for others and stay safe.
No, they don't care about you. In fact, they care about you to the point where as long as you're a productive little worker slave, they care about you. They'll give you enough rope to make you feel free so you're productive, and then after that, they really don't care. All right, so we heard Ohio Valley down to the southern states. Watch out there. But obviously all the rest of us are pretty much covered in it too. We have some snow going on here in FEMA Region 1 right now, just some light snow. And I wanted to follow this clip up with this news out of Philly and the drinking water and the spike in infant mortality rates in the Philadelphia area. This is, I believe, it might be out of Fox News. I'm not quite sure who the affiliate is. I don't remember at this point. Yes, comment in chat, Radchick is just so damn awesome. She really is. I mean, the girl does amazing amounts of research and is on top of it constantly. I mean, 24/7 she is looking into every aspect, every detail of this, and we are very, very lucky that she does that. We really are. But of course, some people just take it with a grain of salt because, like I said, you can't hear it, see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, so you don't really think it's there. Well, it is. Anyway, so I'm going to play this next clip just to kind of show for a couple reasons. Number one, the fact that this made it into mainstream media obviously shows there a problem. And if you have to, people, we have to understand, or we have to come to the realization that if the water, the drinking water, the tap water is radiated in Philadelphia, and you'll hear the man, the person that's giving the info here, I can't remember who it is, saying that most likely this is caused from Fukushima. Well, if you're drinking tap water from municipal water supplies in your area, stop doing that right away, unless you have a reverse osmosis filter. Other than that, do not drink it. Do not drink it. Do not drink it. You probably shouldn't bathe in it either. I know that's a hassle, but so is dying from cancer. I'm pretty sure that's probably a little more inconvenient. But anyway, let's check out this clip.
All right, is there something in our water? There's been a recent spike in infant deaths in Philadelphia, and there's one expert right now who's saying it is radioactive levels in our water that's to blame for that. Remember the explosion at the Fukushima power plant in March after that earthquake and tsunami? Well, that radiation circled the globe, and it came all the way here to Pennsylvania, and about a month after that disaster, radiation levels spiked in our water at 3 of our Philadelphia facilities. But there could be a bigger problem than just the water. Let's check in right now with Sean Knapp for the very latest on this one.
Yeah, Karen, some people might call it a fluke. I actually think it's fascinating in the sense that it's something to think about because it is serious if this proves to be true. A local researcher says radiation from Japan combined with higher levels of iodine the EPA found in Philadelphia's water 2 months ago may be killing young babies here. We're reporting Joe Mangano's research not to alarm or cause panic, but to inform.
It's enough time to suggest, not to conclude yet. It's what the real benefit of this, it really is a red flag to be raised for more studies to be done.
Still, the numbers are alarming.
Number of infant deaths each week in Philadelphia has gone up 48%.
Joseph Mangano is talking about a significant increase in infant deaths in Philadelphia.
We've gone from average of 5 deaths per week to 7.5 deaths per week.
And what's even more thought-provoking is what he's attributing the deaths to.
Japan, there's a meltdown. The huge amounts of radiation comes out of the reactors into the air. It floats across the Pacific Ocean, and within 6 days, it's here in the United States.
Mangano is the executive director of the Radiation and Public Health Project, made up of scientists and health professionals.
The great majority of infants who die in the first couple of weeks of life.
And yes, you heard him right. He believes radiation traveling from Japan to the U.S. by air we breathe, getting into the rain and our food, enters our bodies. And in this case, Mangano says it's affecting particularly pregnant women without them knowing, until their newborn suddenly dies.
It goes through the placenta and into the fetus. And we know this is not something new. We know this from years ago from the atomic bomb test fallout.
Where's the proof, you ask? Mangano looked at infant death data from the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Here, it shows an average of 5 infant deaths a week in the 5 weeks leading up to the fallout in Japan. Then, for the 10 weeks after Japan, there was an average of 7.5. That's a 48% jump. During the same time period, the rate of infant deaths for the whole country jumped just 2.3%. So, why the huge disparity? Mangano points to significant rainfall and iodine.
The EPA data showed us that the levels in drinking water in Philadelphia were the highest in the country. Out of the 7 highest readings, 5 were in Philadelphia. Is this a fluke? Is this just some other reason?
Yeah.
We'll see. But we can't rule out Japan. It's too distinct.
So Mangano also looked at numbers for the same time period dating back 6 years. Karen, they showed a decline in infant deaths up until, as we said, this year.
I just find it so scary. I remember when it happened, I didn't even want my kids to play outside. What about women that were pregnant when this happened, who still may be pregnant right now? Is there anything they can do? I mean, what should they know?
Yeah, Karen, a great question. Whether a doctor who will subscribe to this theory, it's best to just ask your doctor. Also, we should point out no autopsy information regarding these infant deaths and radiation is available right now.
All right. I just don't know what to think about it. It's such a scary situation.
A lot
Wash
of people
what you
be
eat.
asking questions to their doctors, absolutely.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Yeah, ask your doctor. No, do not, because most likely your doctor knows nothing about this. And I just told you, doctors in the Boston area, what their conclusion was. No, it's nothing more than no more radiation than you'd get in an X-ray. So don't ask your doctor. Look, so many things wrong with that clip. The info, great. Glad it's been brought to attention. People of Philadelphia area. Really don't screw around. Don't screw around with this stuff. And everybody else, again, if you're drinking your municipal tap water, stop. Don't give it to your kids. You just can't. I'm sorry. I know it's a pain in the ass, but that's just the deal, The other thing is, you hear the female reporter saying, I remember when this first happened, it was so scary and blah, blah, blah. Well, where is this on mainstream media? Guys, the thing is, when you listen to programs like this, you look at the news, they give you this, we all give you these little segments of information, you know what I mean? But the whole thing is, we are being lied to, and the effect of being lied to is death. You know, your children are at serious risk. Serious risk. Question in chat, is bottled water really any better? I don't know. You know, I don't know the bottled water industry. I don't know how long that water's been stored for. I don't know. Can't answer that question. I can't. But, you know, you have to get mad, and you have to inform your friends. And you know what? And what I just said, you have to get mad. You do. You should be enraged that your supposed government, the one that's, you know, infringing all over your freedoms, spying on you at every turn, accusing you of being a domestic terrorist because you pay in cash, wants to strip you of your American citizenship and detain you indefinitely, you know, all for your supposed freaking safety. But yet they're going to lie to you and cover this up. The reason they're covering it up is because of accountability. They don't want accountability. If they admit, then they are accountable, and then they are at fault. So, like I've said in the past, it's much easier for them to play dumb and then come in afterwards and say, oh, we miscalculated. Oh, let us help with the cleanup. Basically, the collateral damage is worth it. The collateral damage is worth it. So that's why they're never going to come out and admit to you that Fukushima is poisoning all of us. And, you know, I could get into some of the more horrific things about this that's going on, and what some of the experts in our country truly think is happening right now. But I don't know if I should, really. Yes, comment in chat, Fukushima is still melting down. Yes, Fukushima is melting down. Fukushima is getting worse and worse and worse. Worse and worse. And they've been lying to us for a year, so we've all been being exposed to this. And I don't know, if something doesn't stop it, it's going to get real bad. And the other thing is, with the uptick, you know, this is one thing that we don't really talk about. With the uptick in earthquake activity, you know, we're one quake away, one natural disaster away from having a Fukushima right in the motherland. Okay, so with all these nuclear reactor issues that they're having, look, we had the one in Fort Calhoun out in Ohio that's still having issues, intermittent issues. We had the one down in Virginia after the quake. We have the one, the San Onofre plant out in Southern California. That other one further downriver, I can never remember it. The Cooper plant down in, I want to say Missouri, but I could be wrong. All of these things. Vermont Yankee leaking the tritium into the Connecticut River. The citizens of Vermont, they want to shut this thing down. The federal government is refusing to allow the plant to be shut down. Here's the other thing about nuclear power, you guys. Anybody who is a pro-nuke idiot, you know, the question I have is, well, this was touted to the public as making energy cheaper and cleaner. Well, I have a question for all of you. Let's throw on our superhero common sense capes and say, has nuclear power made the planet cleaner? And has your energy bill gotten cheaper? That would be no and no. So there's really no reason to be pro-nuclear energy. There's not one good reason. Not one. Not one. All right, so I'm done beating up the nuclear power industry. All right, let's get on to some health news here. See, now that would have been a perfect segue into some radiation mitigation, but alas, no radiation mitigation for tonight. So we will go into some just regular old health news using some cayenne pepper. This is something I use a lot in the summer, but I don't really use it as a regular supplement in my whole regime. But I'm going to add it in there. As soon as I can swing it, I will do that. But let's just check out some pluses of cayenne pepper. hurt them some more. Oh, you have no idea. All right, just 5 minutes in a room alone with some of these people. Just 5 minutes. All right. If you are mentally relegating cayenne pepper to the Cajun seasoning file in your head, you are missing out on a fantastic seasoning with some surprising health benefits. Introduce this punchy red pepper into your weekly nutrition pan and spice up your life. Literally. That's true, people. The bright red cayenne is a medium hot pepper that is used in many forms, dried and ground. Okay, we know this. In a vinegar-based sauce or even whole in a Szechuan cuisine. Also called guinea spice, bird pepper, and cow-horned pepper. See, you learn something new every day. Cayenne is indeed a popular flavoring in Cajun dishes such as blackened fish. You'll also recognize cayenne as the kicky flavor in buffalo sauce. Cayenne pepper contains a high concentration of capsaicin. This is the key to the cayenne pepper, the capsaicin, which increases blood flow and metabolism by nourishing the structure of the veins. If you suffer from poor circulation or just have icy fingers and toes, a daily dose of cayenne may help you more than wool socks would. Cayenne's circulating promoting properties deliver blood to all parts of the body. Hint, hint, hint. To all parts of the body, which is why the red pepper is also known as a popular libido enhancer in many cultures. See, I knew they were going with that. This is true. Here's a little side note. As far as saving your toes if you're getting frostbite, if you're in a survival situation, you can carry some cayenne. You can put it in your boots, in your socks. It'll actually heat up your feet. It will. Don't get it in your eyes, though. Don't get it in your eyes. Okay, so cayenne can also help lower blood pressure levels by feeding vital elements to the cell structure of veins, arteries, and capillaries. Cayenne also helps to clean the arteries and assist the body in ridding itself of triglycerides, which is the bad cholesterol. Just a side note, people, you have two types of cholesterol, HDL, which stands for high-density lipoproteins, and LDL, which is low-density lipoproteins. The low-density are lighter lipoproteins, and what happens is they're so light and airy, they get caught along the sides of your veins, your arteries, and they clog it up like a bad sewer pipe gets all clogged up with stuff. And the high-density lipoproteins are heavy, and they come kind of, slamming through your veins, your arteries, and they're slamming against the walls of your veins, and they actually rip out. They knock loose the LDL. So you want more HDL cholesterol than LDL. Okay, just went on a little tangent there about cholesterol. So on with some cayenne pepper. So they help to rid itself of triglycerides, the bad LDL cholesterol, and the platelet aggregation, concerns for anyone with heart disease or those who would like to prevent it. Same for high blood pressure. Anybody out there suffering from high blood pressure, having a problem bringing it down, get into some cayenne pepper, or you can go, straight for the capsaicin in a supplement form. If you have a problem taking on if it bothers your stomach, try it on a full stomach. Try it maybe with some protein. Not really sure. I don't really have much that bothers my stomach except the New World Order. That makes me kind of sick. The bright red color of cayenne indicates its high contents of beta-carotene, a powerful A vitamin that boosts immunity and helps to keep mucous membranes healthy and can reduce the symptoms of asthma and arthritis. It's an inflammation fighter. Cayenne is an effective treatment for sensory nerve disorders and can even be used for topical pain relief and to soothe congestion. Just try a cup of cayenne tea the next time your nose is stuffed up for immediate relief. Cayenne along with its active ingredient, capsaicin, seems like a wonderful drug, and in many ways it is, but you just can't take 2 teaspoons of cayenne every day unless you have an extremely stout stomach and steel gut. See, I don't read these articles before I go on the air, so maybe we'll come up with a stomach remedy here. The trick is to add cayenne to your diet in little ways every day so that you can take full advantage of its health benefits without burning yourself out. There you go. Nice, simple fix. So instead of trying to take your dose all at once during the day, spread it out with each meal. Just try it. Try different things. The little bit at a time would most likely do it. Oh, let's see. Okay, use cayenne wherever you would use black pepper. Just use slightly less. Cayenne goes very well with breakfast. I love it on my eggs. And can help wake your body system up for the day. And then it says, try it on eggs, buttered toast, and even oatmeal. No. Cayenne pairs wonderfully with cinnamon to give sweet dishes a sneaky kick of flavor. Cayenne also pairs wonderfully with vegetables, especially bitter leafy greens that need a strong flavor to complement their own. Combine cayenne with lemon juice and try it with sautéed vegetables, green beans, collards, and kale. Anytime. Let me tell you something delicious. Take your green beans, all right? Put them in a pan with some olive oil and some cayenne pepper and maybe a little bit of organic seasoned salt or something like that, some little garlic, organic garlic salt or some organic garlic. Oh, delicious. Absolutely delicious. And anytime you're feeling bored with your go-to vegetables like carrot or celery sticks, just sprinkle a little cayenne on top and be bored no more. Last but not least, don't forget drinks. Try cayenne in your favorite hot chocolate. Oh, that sounds gross. I'm sorry. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. And add a little to your morning coffee or tea. Plain vanilla milkshakes become showstoppers with a sprinkle of cayenne. I love the words. And cocktail enthusiasts can find 1,000 drinks that will benefit from a spicy punch. For creative pepper lovers, the sky's the limit when it comes to cayenne. Yeah, throw a little in your Bloody Mary on a Sunday morning. It's my one set of grandparents I had. They always started Sunday morning with a big Bloody Mary. So there you go, some cayenne pepper. It also, by the way, not mentioned in the article, will give you a boost. Like a pre-workout boost. So you take some cayenne before you work out, and it should, like you said, increase blood flow. And when you're working out, when you're doing exercise, everybody, blood flow is the key. That is your main goal when you're doing exercise. You want the blood to flow. The blood brings oxygen and fresh nutrients to muscle tissue at the same time flushing away toxins and other things you don't want in your muscle tissue. And obviously, the more blood flow you have to muscle tissue, the better results you get from your workout. And the more what's the word I'm looking for? The more efficient your workout is. That's what I'm looking for. So there you go. There you go. So there's some cayenne pepper health news. All right. So now I'm going to go through this article that I've been teasing you with for about a week and a half now. This firsthand account of the shit hitting the fan during the Jasmine Revolution in Egypt. I'm not going to go into what's going on with that whole thing again because I beat that horse to death till it's a bloody puddle of horse pulp. Oh, there's a nice comment in the chat room. Cayenne, apple cider vinegar, and potassium during a workout in a drink. The thing with potassium is, you have to be careful. You have to balance it out with the magnesium, okay? And I'm no expert with that. So do a little research with the potassium, magnesium balancing, because that's one thing that supposed people that are supposedly in shape die from. People will mistake it for too much potassium in the system, but it's really not. It's too little magnesium in the system, and people will go, well, Darren, then why don't you just bring your potassium down to your magnesium levels? Well, because then you'd be deficient in both. So it's your magnesium level that's low. All right. So anyway, back to the real deal in Cairo, Egypt, when the shit hit the fan. So I'll just read you his words, okay? From the somewhat guilt-filled comforts of Greece. You can tell this was written a couple weeks ago. I have been thinking about what I learned from this recent Cairo shit-hit-the-fan experience. I'm not putting myself forth as an expert of any source, and frankly, many or even most items on the list below might be flat out wrong. Who the hell knows? We were in Cairo from January 25th until late February 3rd. when the neighborhood gunfire became full auto and regularly occurring. At that point, we decided that Friday prayers the next day might not yield a pleasant experience. We had no way of knowing that we had already seen the worst. So here's the lessons. He has these numbered in lessons. We have a few lessons here. I wouldn't consider Cairo a true shit-hit-the-fan scenario, though, because it didn't last all that long, although the people are now, well, I digress. It is a true shit-hit-the-fan scenario because what's happening in Egypt and in Cairo now has become the norm, and it's a huge step down from where it was prior to, the ousting of the evil Mubarak. Well, I'm saying he was evil with a sarcastic twist because I'm sure he was a scumbag, as most political leaders are that have been in power for decades. But the reason he is gone is not because of him. It's because of NATO, the United States wanting to destabilize the entire Middle East, and Egypt was one of those regions. Preparing the whole thing. We're softening the whole area up. And yes, question in chat: isn't the military in charge now? Yes. So that's why we don't see Hillary Clinton on TV saying how wonderful the uprising in Egypt was, because now it's being controlled by the military, which she knew was going to be the end result of this. She knew that, and that's what your tax dollars. Do you all know that your tax dollars go to fund the Egyptian military? That they do. All right. Oh, I have a caller on the line. I have my caller, Zach from Revolution Will Be Televised, with the inside scoop on Syria. So let me grab Zach off the phone right now. Zach, how you doing, brother?
How's it going, man?
All right. Hey, you got me all excited with your email today. So
yeah. Before we get into that, I just want to plug my partner on my page. I don't feel like I gave him enough credit last time. I don't want to say his name, but he knows who he is, and I appreciate what he does, man. He does great work, and he was the one to actually establish contact with this guy. Okay. And we checked him out. He's legit, and he's gave us a lot of inside information, and he sent us a few videos that you wouldn't even see here in the States. And first off, he is from a city called Latakia. It's a port city in Syria, and he has given us the a few videos and like some journalists.
Hey Zach.
Yeah.
Zach, let's just preface what's going on with Syria, because maybe some people don't know. And I'll be honest with you. I haven't been looking into Syria more than looking at the mainstream headlines, because to me it's just it's more of the same of what we've seen. So I don't really feel the need to look into detail. But for those of you out there, and if you know more about this, Zach, please chime in. Our government is demonizing the Syrian government. They've actually been doing this for a while now, but they're really ramping it up now. And we're hearing all kinds of reports of how the Syrian government is killing innocent people in the streets. We hear reports of 400 people killed in a day, and actual beheadings in the streets, and all of this stuff. Right. So for you guys that didn't know that, I just wanted to preface that. If you want to go into more detail on that, Zach, feel free. If you want to go right into what your source has, and feel free to do that.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Basically what's going on is another Libya. It's basically Libya 2.0. They are, creating this facade. Everything you see in the mainstream media is a complete lie. And they are using CIA snipers to create a fake, Arab Spring type deal, a fake revolution. He sent us a video on a fake revolution type scenario where they are using Al-Qaeda as they're posing as the Free Syrian Army, and they are, he sent us a video that was really disturbing, that there was a Free Syrian rebel, which is basically an Al-Qaeda rebel, shooting a missile that is geared for taking out a tank, an anti-tank missile, into a civilian housing area. I'm talking about, this is just, he didn't even know where he was shooting it. He just says a lot of stuff in Arabic and sets up the missile in the center of the road, sits down, fires it, gets up cheering, and that was very disturbing. And he had sent us the proposed constitution, I guess, that they have, that NATO or whoever has proposed to Syria, like the ultimatum, I guess, so to speak. He sent us that, and he is staying in contact with us and giving us a lot of information as far as there was a few journalists that were hit by bombs along with some military, and a few other journalists were wounded. There was a video we posted on our page of that you wouldn't see here. Also, he has said that, everything, he asked me actually what how our media is portraying, and I basically told him that, it's another Libya there. People are tired of Assad, and which I am not a proponent of Assad, nor was I of Gaddafi. They're both totalitarian dictatorships. But I was approached on my page a while back by someone who, after the Libya confrontation, had said that, this is better for Libya now that Gaddafi's gone, and I simply told him that, what's happening now is you're going to have civil war and you're going to have chaos and unrest from now until who knows.
Right, it's the destabilization agenda. That's what all this is. And the Syrian government is elected, right?
Right. Well, it's elected, but it's also I believe it's a family. It's inherited, almost like a monarchy type thing. But I believe there is an electoral process there.
Right, and let's be honest. I mean, their elections are about as free as our elections.
Exactly. And also, the thing is that we have, what a lot of people don't realize is that we've propped up these dictators such as Saddam, Gaddafi, this Assad. We've propped these guys up, and now when it's time for our global elite to start collecting on them, so to speak, they create these false revolutions, and they want to destabilize and go ahead and take over. And this is what we're doing. They're using, of course, Al-Qaeda and NATO, and they are killing innocent people. There is actually a video circulating on YouTube that's legit of some people capturing, it looked like CIA agents that were sniping people on rooftops. We're talking innocent women and children being shot and killed for no reason, simply to start an uprising, and they're blowing up installations and blaming it on Assad, that he's blowing up his own, setting fire or bombing his own oil installations or bombing his own office buildings and such, which we know are a lie, because they did the same thing with Gaddafi. They said that he was strafing his own people, which was a lie. Same way they did with – go ahead.
It's false flag, man. It's false flag. It's been going on forever.
It's all false flag. They did the same thing with Saddam when he invaded Kuwait. They said they were throwing babies out of incubators off of bridges.
Yep.
And it was all false.
And that was proven to be a lie. And actually, the woman who reported that, wasn't she the daughter of some royalty over there?
Exactly.
Yeah. So she was basically just playing a part. If you guys remember, if you guys listeners out there, you remember that back there in the first Desert Storm, we heard stories of the Iraqi Royal Guard going into hospitals and pulling babies out of incubators and throwing them on the floor. Now, when you hear ridiculous stuff like that, you have to understand that is meant to pull at your heartstrings. That's meant to lead you by emotion. There's not going to be any rationalization, because you get that mental picture of an armed man picking out a defenseless baby and slamming on the floor. I mean, you have this cognitive dissonance, right?
Right.
There you go. All right. I didn't mean to interrupt, Sax. Go ahead.
It's fine. That's fine. Our guy has also he is. You also may want to check on a page. I believe it's called the Syrian Youth English.
Okay.
The SYE, and they do a lot of. We check them out as well, and they have been putting up a lot of videos that you won't see. I'm really surprised they haven't got shut down yet, but they're putting up a lot of things that, and I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really had time to sit down and really talk with the guy who is giving us the information as far as is he pro-Assad, or I'm sure he wants to keep what he has right now versus what's to come after we've seen Libya. I mean, really, who wouldn't want what they have now because at least there was some stability there. Now they want to come in and destabilize and completely start killing and murdering and torturing and robbing and pillaging, like a bunch of pirates.
Sure.
And,
well, not just Libya. I mean, it's Iraq is in shambles, Afghanistan's in shambles, Egypt's in shambles.
Absolutely.
And they're poking Pakistan's chest constantly with the drones.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, the track record of supposedly grass is greener on the other side is we're 0 for 4.
Well, the thing too about another misnomer that people here in America think about Afghanistan is that we're constantly fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan. No, we're not. We're protecting a $50 billion a year industry by protecting the opium fields in Afghanistan.
That's
$50
right.
billion.
That's right. And listeners, before the United States was there, the opium trade was nil. The Taliban, they were not pro-opium.
Right.
And now your soldiers guard and export opium. You can actually look mainstream media with was it Geraldo out there a couple of years ago?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They said if we don't protect it and whatnot, then the Taliban or somebody or Al Qaeda will get it, and we provide them all the fertilizer. We provide them everything they need to grow the opium, and our CIA ships it out. $50 billion a year industry, and we are under the pretense that we are there to protect freedoms of the Afghani people. This is the biggest false flag, fake operation, and the padding of how many soldiers actually died in Iraq, how many soldiers have actually died in Afghanistan. I mean, the numbers are way higher of deaths and disabilities and suicides of our returning troops than people can ever even imagine. They can't even, and they're dumping remains of troops in landfills and things of such. This is what the shadow government or global elite do. And Henry Kissinger said it best, that our soldiers are basically dogs at his behest. Yeah,
they're useless, dumb animals to be used as pawns.
Exactly.
And it's funny, when you talk about this, and when I talk about this, I get accused of being, anti-troop and all this ridiculous just garbage, the reality is that our government, the people that send these kids, these men, these women, these mothers, the fathers, daughters, brothers, all this stuff, daughters, sons, to war and die, they disrespect. They send them to war on complete lies, and they disrespect them after they've been killed fighting for nothing.
Right.
They're the true people that disrespect this. So when you and it's nationalism, people. Nationalism is a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale, and it's a tool that's used against your psyche. That's what it is.
We have been lulled into a sense that they are protecting our freedoms. We don't need to go to another country to protect our freedoms and bring democracy to these other countries. We're not the world police to be going around telling people who can have nuclear weapons, who can't, who can do this. It's all an empire, a imperial tactic where we want to become the biggest empire and ruler of the entire world. And empires fall, and as broke as we are, that's exactly what's going to happen. And the people don't realize too is that when they elect leaders into as a president, say, of the United States, that these people have these Trilateral, CFR, Bilderberg, they all cycle through the cabinets and establishments of cabinets or establishments of government. Kissinger was Secretary of State or Secretary of something. He's also CFR, Trilateral Commission. Zbigniew Brzezinski, he served under Carter. He's also Trilateral CFR. These people you're having the same exact people running the show behind the scenes. So when you get mad at Obama or you get mad at Bush, these guys are puppets compared to the ones that are actually pulling the strings behind the curtain. They're doing what Obama, Bush, Clinton, they're all doing what they've been told.
And you're supposed to get mad at them. That's supposed to be your focal point. And that's why I never bring I never present the president in a manner, as if these are his choices. I don't even refer to the national health care as Obamacare, because that's a falsity in itself. That makes people think that it's something he did. No, it was just, he was groomed for the job. This is what you're going to accomplish when you're in here. We'll probably keep you in there for 8 years, and who knows what'll happen with that. But you're supposed to get mad at these people. That's just it's the same way as they dangled Osama bin Laden in front of people's faces for them to get mad at after 9/11. It's the same thing. You're supposed to get mad at the president, because if you're getting mad at him, you're not looking at the people behind him.
Exactly. And they have cycled so many of these CFR Trilateral Commission people through over years and years. Casper Weinberger, Trilateral CFR. Who else? Alexander Haig, Trilateral CFR. I mean, all these people, it's the same people over and over and over, and people can't see this, man. I'm like, these Trilateral CFR, okay, they're not the main guys that are they're not the main group that you're supposed to really be looking at, but you should look at these guys, the ones behind them, and it goes all the way up into a religious hierarchy,
Yes.
So,
if you look at those guys, Zach, I don't want people to say don't look at those. Look at them, because when you realize, by looking at them, you realize that your government is just a facade.
Right.
And if you realize it's a facade, then you realize that all of these things that are being pushed on you are being pushed on you without your consent. You have no vote. You have no say. And so if you don't look behind the supposed president, then you're never going to understand how this whole thing works. And if you don't, you're going to continue on thinking that the next guy will do the job. The next guy isn't going to do the job.
Well, they are doing the same thing in Syria. It's a humanitarian action under R2P, the responsibility to protect, and it's a facade. They're going to end up, once things start kicking off, they're going to drop those love bombs on them like they did in Libya. The NATO dropped the 10,000 sorties. I mean, people can't even imagine here in the U.S. having to live in a country where NATO is dropping bombs on you constantly and live in that kind of fear with your family and children, to know that at any point in time that you could have a bomb dropped on you and you will die over nothing, over something that some globalist scumbag.
Right, you're just trying to live your life, and you have the threat of being bombed by high-tech weaponry at any moment. I think about that, Zach. When the war comes to America, because it's going to, I think most Americans mentally will completely break down. Completely. When that bubble of falseness is popped around them, I don't know. I think that a great majority is actually going to crumble mentally, not be able to deal with anything.
No, they won't. They won't. And they are going to do this all over the Middle East. And if the thing too is we are trying right now with this guy in Syria. I thank him. I have thanked him for putting his life out there, because I know in Egypt, when the bloggers in Egypt started blogging, a lot of them, they went, found them, captured them, killed them, or tortured them to death.
Yes,
for blogging the truth.
Yep.
So,
and we didn't hear Hillary Clinton come out and condemning that, did we?
No.
That was swept under the rug, because we can't have things look a little odd over there.
Yeah, R2P works for select countries. What about Somalia, where they've been killing people for decades? Where's the R2P there?
Zach, let's be fair. There's pirates over there, Zach. There's pirates.
Yeah. The guerrillas that we fund, And
most people don't realize that those pirates, those people are just fighting to survive, because all their fishing rights have been taken away. Everything's been taken away from them. They have no choice. They have no choice. I mean, if anybody's going to be a pirate, people, Do you think they're going to get in a little rowboat and row out to a big tanker with some AK-47s? I mean, if they're really going to be a serious pirate, does that look more like an act of desperation? You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty desperate.
Well, they've instilled a eugenics program on the countries of Africa that is in astronomical leaps and bounds. You know, they've injected them with AIDS. They've injected them with hepatitis. I mean, they have tried to extinguish this country for decades now. And, you know, these people are resilient. And you know what? That's the way it is. When you get pushed to a point, you push back. And you do it any way you can, you know. And these people, like I said, American people have to start putting themselves in the position of these people who are being bombed and killed on a daily basis, because this is coming to a theater near you. Believe it. It is coming. Sooner or later, it's inevitable. And people just they've got to start waking up and looking at the facts and start researching and realizing that the mainstream media is nothing that is there to sway your mind and control your mind into the way they want you to think. These people that own these media, they are CFR, Trilateral Commission, or Bilderberg attendees. Think about that.
Right. Like we talked about last show when you called in, Mika Brzezinski.
Right. Trilaterals, and him and David Rockefeller founded the Trilateral Commission. What does that tell you? Evil, you know. Ed Mendelhouse founded the CFR, 1917. These people are eugenicists. They're murderers. They're killers. They don't care about us. So, you know, we have to expose. Thank God this guy, you know, I thank him every time I talk to him that he's putting himself out there. He's going to keep feeding us information. And when I know something, you guys will know something for sure. Check the page daily. You know, anytime I can call in, I will be happy to give information.
All right, Jack. I really appreciate the phone call. I appreciate the information you shared with us. And the videos that he sent you, are they up on Revolution Will Be Televised right now?
They are up. All of them are up from day before yesterday till yesterday.
On the Facebook page?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, go check out Revolution Will Be Televised on Facebook. Great info channel. This is Zach. He's one of the guys that runs the page. And the other guy that runs the page, Mystery Man, nice job, brother. We appreciate it.
All right, Darren. Take care, man.
All right, Zach. I appreciate it. You have a good one, brother.
All right, you too, bro.
Bye. There he goes. That was worth it, man. The guy, you know, I like that guy. So there you go. We have the CIA. You know, you can choose to believe it or not believe it, you know, but if you don't believe it and you think that it's not true, if you are correct, that would be probably one of the only times in history that what you're being told is actually what's happening. So according to a guy who lives in Syria, there are American agents, Americans there, shooting and killing civilians in order to frame the Syrian government, which is the same thing we did in Egypt, same thing we did in Libya, except that it's not just Americans, it's Americans working with Al-Qaeda, you know, the guys that supposedly hate us for our freedom. You know what? Here, let me just play this clip one more time. This is Hillary admitting the United States formed Al-Qaeda. And come on, play. Why does this Blog Talk Radio is really pissing me off these days with this? It just won't play the audio on the clip.
So if you think if we walked away from this, didn't give them money today, it would be worse for us from a security standpoint.
I do. We're building a relationship that just did not exist. I said in our last trip when you were with me that we had a huge trust deficit, in part because the United States had, to be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting.
How?
Because when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, we had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan. And we were successful. The Soviets left Afghanistan, and then we said, great, goodbye, leaving these trained people who were fanatical in Afghanistan and Pakistan, leaving them well armed, creating a mess, frankly, that at the time we didn't really recognize. We were just so happy to see the Soviet Union fall, and we thought, okay, fine, we're okay now. Everything's going to be so much better. Now you look back, the people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
So there you go. It's not a conspiracy theory. We created Al-Qaeda. We armed them. And she's such a lying piece of you-know-what. I mean, to say that it became a problem, suddenly was a problem. No, Al-Qaeda's been a tool to be used since it came into existence. But they're just a tool. They're mercenaries. They're paid by us, by you, by me, okay? And, if you have people that you love, friends, family, that are in the service over there, they're being had. It's a lie. And you have to, you have to make that known. You're not doing anybody any favors, okay, by keeping quiet. You're just not. You're not being a good boy, a good girl by keeping quiet about it. If you have people over there, people over there, ask them questions. Ask them the hard questions. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. Anyway. All right. So it looks like I will get to this. So, again, coinciding with Zach's phone call, we'll go back into what happened in Cairo during that destabilization project. And we'll hear what this guy has to say. His lesson number one is the best weapon for a shit hit the fan scenario is truly, this is what his words say, is truly whatever firearm you can lay your hands on, and it does not matter the slightest bit what it is. He says, I had borrowed a 3-shot semi-auto Beretta 26 trap-grade shotgun. I loved it. It was my baby, and I truly miss it now. That said, I would have given my left nut for my Yugo underfolder, or SGL-21. Frankly, I am now of the opinion that if in the moment you are being at all picky about firearms, then by definition, the shit has not truly hit the fan. One guy on our street actually had a nice little Smith & Wesson J-frame 22, and he seemed a lot more relaxed than the guys with baseball bats, I can tell you that. Well, yeah. I don't care what caliber gun it is. You don't want to get shot by anything. Once you break that skin, anything can happen. So any weapon, I guess, is his choice for a shit hit the fan scenario. Lesson number 2. Goodwill with one's friends and neighbors has the power to greatly enhance or even make unnecessary absolutely any prep you can make, including having money. Bad will with one's neighbors similarly has the ability to completely nullify any prep, again, including having money. I am and was the lucky beneficiary and supplier of the former. As an example, one night on the street, a local young cop who lived in the neighborhood asked me, quote, where did you get that shotgun? I winked and said, I found it. He just smirked and said, oh, okay, end of conversation. Then that's what is achieved by 6 years of being the, quote, cool American who takes the time to chat with everyone, from street vendors, doormen, and neighborhood kids to villa owners and businessmen. I'll be honest with you, people. I have a good relationship with one of my neighbors. I'm friendly, I guess, with the rest, but I don't know all the people on my street. I really don't. So lesson number 3, bugging out is really only an option if you are lucky enough to be psychic and see the shit before it truly hits the fan. And that's why we have programs like this, right? For insight. The whole thing with learning the truth about how things work is not to become a negative person or to become, a depressed person or to become, a conspiracy theorist. No, it's so you can make rational, educated decisions as you go through this time period you have here. And so you can pass that information on to other people that matter to you, that you care about, and even people you don't. You know, I don't really talk. I mean, I don't really talk a whole lot about this stuff to people in my personal life anymore, because I don't know. I figured if they wanted to talk about it, they would. So I don't really bring it up. They know where I stand. I really enjoy talking to strangers about it, mostly at this point. But anyway, where was I here? The bug-out plans you have will almost certainly physically be blocked when the shit hit the fan. Good luck getting to Alexandria after shit hit the fan in Tahrir Square, or to Aswan when the government shuts down the rail network. Frankly, we almost realized we had those options before they were blocked off, but they might have been more dangerous than bugging in with our friends and neighbors and banding together to protect the neighborhood. Further, I did not want to be a refugee, so bugging in was perfectly fine since we were prepped wisely. That said, and in spite of the above, when you see an escape route, run. You know, and I learned that, I told you guys this, after we had those 4 or 3 F3 tornadoes that ripped through FEMA Region 1 here last June 1st, I think it was. They had my town, my area. I have, from my house, I have, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exits to get out of this vicinity and onto major roads and you know, through back roads and stuff. Within 10 hours of those tornadoes hitting this area, the National Guard and the Massachusetts Environmental Police had everything, every single exit, every single road was shut down. You could not leave. You were not going to travel on any roads. And that made me realize instantly that, wow, in a bug-out scenario, unless infrastructure has completely collapsed, you're not going anywhere. The only route we had was south into Connecticut, and that was actually hard to get out of. Actually, no, I'm thinking of the Halloween blizzard. No, that wasn't a problem to get out there. But we only had, so I went from 6 exits down to 1 in less than 10 hours. I have a comment in chat. How do you keep laughing with all this going on? Let me explain. I enjoy the fact that, in my opinion, I think I know the truth about what's going on and how things work and how the world works. Even being a guy that's never traveled around the world, how I derive that, or how I come to that conclusion is this. I don't claim to know what they're doing. And by they, I mean people who control this whole operation. I don't claim to know what they're doing. We can speculate. We can see we can say what it seems like they're doing. But what you do, the way that you come to this conclusion is you look at what's not being done. You look at what they don't do. Case in point, chemtrailing. Let's use chemtrailing as a case in point. If you look into geoengineering, you will see that it has been around since 1952. Okay? I have this article that I've had for a couple of shows right here with Bill Gates backing climate scientists for large-scale geoengineering projects, okay? One aspect of geoengineering is atmospheric spraying, aerosol spraying in the atmosphere, I should say. Now, when you know that governments can have a technology known as seeding the clouds, where they can make it rain, where you have, remember we had the huge droughts. I think they were still having a drought in the Southwest, okay? We could make it rain. If you were really about helping people, you could make it rain there, okay? And if you think that this is a conspiracy theory, I urge you, do some Googling, okay, or some start paging or some scroogling, whatever it is you like to do, and look into Russia using weather modification last year to keep snow out of Moscow, major city. The Olympics in China, weather modification to make the weather nice for the Olympics. Look it up, mainstream media. Okay? So what you can do is you can come to the conclusion that they're not really here to help anybody. Because all the starving children that you see in third world countries, they could make it rain. They could have projects to get those people farming and get them some type of quality of life, but they don't. So when you ask, how can you laugh knowing all this? Number one, you can't let them get you depressed. You can't let all this get down, because when you do, then they've won. They've taken your life from you. And I refuse to let them do that. I actually revel in the fact of being more aware than people who are supposedly highly educated. You know, I do. I revel in that fact. I mean, I've spoken many times about my conversation with the NASA rocket scientist. You know, guy's blind as a bat. Thinks 9/11 was just like the people told, just like the story told him it was. You know, doctors that go to school for 12 years, bozos, idiots. Truthfully, if you're referring to the real world, these people know nothing. You know, so I have to admit, I feel a little Neo-ish when I walk out there into the Matrix. You know, so you can't let them win. You can't do that, man. You have to you know, use some comedy. You have to laugh at the utter ridiculousness. Look, I mean, I could, you know, spiral down into deep depression if I thought about this stuff all day in a negative way. I mean, if I told you some of the things that some of the experts are thinking holds in our future for Fukushima, you know, it might get a lot of you down. So, and there's nothing we can do about that anyway. So to know it, I don't know. I don't know if it really does anybody any good. All I'll say is, you know, whatever life that you have now, in whatever capacity it is, try to make the best of it and try to stay as positive as you can, because you can't let them beat you like that. You know, that's what they want. They want to take that from you. They want to take your humanity, and that is why in the opening of my show, I always say, you know, the front lines and the war on our humanity, because that is the thing they have tried to take from us, and that is the thing they consistently try to take from us on every single front. You know, through your entertainment, your thought process about how you vision you're supposed to live your life. You go to school for 12 years. You come out of your schooling with an ingrained life pattern in your head. Because you think that's how you're supposed to do it. Because if you do it that way, you will live the American dream. You will be rewarded. You will reap the benefits of being quote unquote of doing quote unquote the right thing, the thing you're supposed to do. So you emerge from your first 12 years of school and you fall right into that ingrained thought pattern, that thing that was implanted into your mind, and off you go like a good little lemming. And why question it? You've been promised the world. You've been promised everything if you do it that way. Why would you even question it? You wouldn't, and we haven't for so long, and that's why we're in this mess. And to be honest, you want to look at, you know, we can bitch and moan, we can sit here and point fingers, and we can say that it's this person, it's the Trilateral, it's the CFR, it's the Illuminati, it's the central banking, it's the 13 crown families of the Illuminati, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. Nope, it's none of that. It's us. It's me and you. Look in the mirror, that's who you blame. Because we're all too busy reveling in our immediate comforts to go outside of our comfort zone and make changes. It's just like working out. It's just like trying to cause a physical change in your body when you were in some type of exercise regime. I always told my clients, you will not change. There will be no reason for your body to change if you stay within your comfort zone. So it is my job to bring you outside of that. And when you go outside of that, things change. That holds true for all of these things that we're being exposed to now. That holds true. Fukushima is a foregone conclusion. There's nothing we can do about that at this point. But in order to stop another one, we could do something about it. And I'm not talking about a revolution. I'm talking about the same thing I always talk about. I'm talking about I'm talking about stop feeding the vampire. Stop feeding that Babylon system that Bob Marley refers to. The Babylon system is the vampire. What does it feed off of? It feeds off your energy, your perception of it, and your financing of it. If we pull back, if we understand it and change our perception, we will stop financing it. And if we stop financing it, one of two things will happen. One, it will die. Two, it will force our government and the United Nations' hand, and we will see them for what they truly are. And that's it. I am no advocate of a violent revolution. I don't want that. I don't want that. Because, and I'm going to tell you why I don't want that. If everybody was informed and understood who the enemy is when the shit hits the fan like that, then I would want that. Because it wouldn't be a violent revolution. It would be very, very fast. It would be over probably within a week. Okay, maybe a little bit longer, but it wouldn't go on very long. My fear is that there's too many bozos out there that have no clue how things work, are completely wrapped up in the nationalism and the American flag, okay? And they won't know what's up, what's down, and there will be too much chaos, too many factions, too many issues. So that's why I don't promote a violent revolution. I don't. I don't think it would be good for anybody. That's why I personally bought firearms. I've never been a gun enthusiast my whole life. I've never thought anybody should have guns. You know. I mean, look at Barack Obama. You know, if you're gonna give credence to the official story, and you know, you're gonna think that our president is telling us that, you know, I can't remember the Syrian president's name right now. I can't remember his name, but you know, look, if you have a big problem with him, Barack, why don't you two guys duke it out on pay-per-view and send the proceeds to some people who need it? You know, if you guys want to go to war, go to war. You go. Lead the charge, like Gerald Celente says. Lead the charge. All you spineless, you know, politicians that want to tell us how we have to do this and we have to do that. Lead by example. Go, you know. But no, that's not what happens. And we get people like Mitt the Twit Romney, who on his presidential campaign last time around, when questioned why his 20-something-year-old sons weren't fighting over in Iraq, Mitt Romney's response was, they're serving their country by trying to get their father elected as president. Geez, if I had a daughter that was gang raped over in the Middle East while serving, I would take quite some offense to that. If I had a son that was killed by a roadside bomb, I'd be pretty pissed off at Mr. Romney's answer. And I'd love to see the stringent work schedule Mitt Romney's sons were under trying to get him elected. Oh, it would be something like, hey, you go stroke this donor off over at the country club, Junior, okay? And then you, Mitt Junior, you go over to the yacht club and you stroke off these donors over there. You know? I mean, yeah, and how can we even give credence? You know, this is what I said. For those of you that have been around for a while, at the start of this 2012 election cycle, I put up a post that I wrote about here it comes, the biggest reality television show on the networks now is the 2012 presidential comedy skit, whatever it is. It's ridiculous. And I'm sorry, the people that support Ron Paul, you're living in a dream world. You are living in a dream world. And it's why, you know, conspiracy websites out there, that talk about New World Order, Illuminati, everything's controlled, yet they still touting Ron Paul as though you have a fair voting system where someone's going to get elected and come in and make changes. I mean, it's just the most asinine, ridiculous thing to get wrapped up in, and that's why I don't really focus on these individuals, because they're not worth my time, and I'm definitely not going to waste your time with it. I'd rather waste your time telling you about stupid stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm not going to waste your time with it, because it's ridiculous. You know what? To me, look, I could walk in to CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and I could do their job probably better than they can do it. And I didn't go to college for so-called journalism. What a ridiculous term that is, journalism. Because how hard is it for me to just point fingers at the other side of the make-believe political system, the other make-believe party, and just pick them apart? That's easy. That's like being 12 years old on the playground, making fun of the kids in the other grade, or making fun of the kids that wear the skinny jeans. I mean, it's child mentality. And the other thing, whatever. Anyways, so it's just nothing that we need to give our energy to. Stop giving them energy, they'll go away. Can you imagine? Just imagine if one of these idiots comes to their they're going to give a speech, they're going to have a town hall meeting. Nobody shows up. Nobody shows up. How dumb would they feel? You guys do realize that most of these people, they pay people to show up. You have town hall meetings that are televised where the whole thing is written out as a script. The people are placed. The questions are pre-written. The answers are pre-written. And they get on television and they pick somebody from the crowd that the average person says, well, they must have just randomly picked this person. No, that person already knew they were going to get picked. They know the question. The candidate knows the question they're going to ask, and the candidate already has the question lined up. It's just complete foolishness. There's no validity to any of it. And can you actually put any faith in any one of these people? And let's go, everybody say Ron Paul. Well, Ron Paul is pro-nuclear energy. So where the fuck is Ron Paul talking about Fukushima? He's not. And I'll tell you, and you can ask Radchick, because she's here. Ask her. Is there anything more important going on? No, there's not. So Ron Paul, he's full of shit. Okay? He's full of shit. He says some nice things, but that's all he does. And if you actually think that your vote can get him in, you are dreaming. You are dreaming. Dreaming. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do when he is not elected as your president? What is plan B for when Ron Paul is not elected president? What are we going to do then? We're going to wait till December? Or are we going to wait another 4 years, 2016? You're going to wait till 2016, okay? We got another 8 more years? I don't think so. The only reason that you have food in your refrigerator right now, and the only reason you might have a couple dollars in your pocket is because of all the money that the Fed has printed up since 2008. That's it. That's the only reason there's any semblance of normalcy in our lives at this point. Okay? And Ron Paul, he says everything that you want to hear, just like most candidates that you've supported in the past. Do I like things Ron Paul says? Yes, Ron Paul says some nice things, okay? Obama said some nice things. He said as soon as he got into office, he was going to end the war in Iraq. He didn't do that. You know, look, you know, you guys, people out there can get PO'd at me for saying what I say about Ron Paul. I'm a grown-up, okay? I'm a grown-up, and I know when after I've been fooled repeatedly, I'm not going to get fooled anymore. I'm not going to get fooled anymore. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That is our voting process. That is the scheme every 4 years that is run on the American people. That's the scheme. That's the scheme. It also cracks me up that the conspiracy theory websites who will tell you that John F. Kennedy was killed because he wanted to end the Federal Reserve and because he wouldn't go along with Operation Northwoods, the CIA plot to blow up American airliners over our country and blame it on Cuba. Sound familiar? Kind of like 9/11, right? Right? They want to tell you that that's the reason he was assassinated in D.C. and in Dallas, and it probably was. So you think the conspiracy theory websites out there that make money, by the way, are going to tell you that Ron Paul can get elected and be your president? I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's just the truth. I'm not being a defeatist. I'm being realistic. I'm being an adult in an adult mindset. And that's how it's going to roll out. So, I mean, and another funny thing is, I love it when I see all these posts on Facebook and on the internet about Fox News. They played, an audio clip from last year's CPAC over this year's CPAC, and that just and so you couldn't hear the people cheering for Ron Paul. I can't believe it. You can't believe it? You can't believe it? You can't believe it? You're the same people that say we have a completely controlled mainstream media, and now you're out there, laying on the floor, banging your hands like a 2-year-old. I can't believe they're dissing Ron Paul. Of course they're going to. I mean, it's just do a Google search already on voter fraud for the elections this year. I mean, for anybody to think your vote counts or means anything, for anybody that thinks that voting is nothing more than tradition, like I keep saying, you might as well, on the day you're supposed to go vote, you might as well dress up in a costume, carve up a turkey, put up a tree, and hide some eggs. Because that will yield about as much of a result as you spending time and gas money to go down and vote. I don't know Ron Paul personally, so I can't say the man's a bad person. That's why I don't bother talking about the people individually. And I'm not even talking about Ron Paul individually. I am talking about the system we are all living under. It will not allow that to happen. It will not. And if it did, I'll tell you what. I will vote, but I'll probably go down there to talk to people voting and ask them why they're doing it. But anyway, show's getting close to ending, people. Look. Check out frontradio.net. And check out Rad Chicks page on Facebook. Check out Revolution Will Be Televised. Check out Behind the Curtain. Forgot to mention Behind the Curtain and on Facebook. And check out, it's that long name. What is it? It is the World Anti-Censorship Alert Squad on Facebook. Check all that stuff out, everybody. All right? I appreciate you guys listening to me. I ranted a little bit, and I got through part of the Shit Hit the Fan thing. Other than that, I'll see you all Monday. And everybody, I want you to have a great weekend and take these words of wisdom to heart. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Your choice is simple. Join us and live in peace, or pursue your present course and face obliteration. We shall be waiting for your answer. The decision rests with you.